So a quick disclaimer, this is completely unscripted, but there will be no member-exclusive content for this video. In lieu of that, I've linked an alternate version of the video in the description featuring the 5 songs that got copyright claimed. Now, I have replaced all 5 of those songs in the video, but the edits I made for all 5 of those songs were stuff I didn't just want to rot away, and so I put them up there. However, I do have a challenge for you. If you watch this video, and then check out the video in the description for which 5 timestamps are marked, you'll be able to figure out what video game the next video I release will be on. When someone comments that game in the comments section of this video, I will be releasing a preview of that video. Until then, enjoy the guide. Hey guys, Galaxy Studios here coming at you with another Terraria playthrough after such a long time. Okay, so let me explain the title. Eternity Mode is a difficulty added by Terraria's most acclaimed content mod, Fargo's Souls mod, that adds a lot of really cool bosses and some really strong accessories, including this one. Death Mode is a difficulty added by the Calamity mod, adding more bosses, accessories, and a ton of weapons. If you've played both, you might have asked yourself at one point, what would happen if I played both of these together? If you've tried, you've most likely been disappointed, as adding Calamity weapons makes the Fargo's bosses easier, and adding Fargo's accessories makes the Calamity bosses easier. God forbid you enable Infernum. I haven't tried that myself, but I have a feeling doing that would screw up your world almost as much as enabling Calamity Overhaul. Side note, don't download Overhaul, it steals code and will corrupt your worlds and characters. Thank me later. The solution to this comes in the form of Fargo's Souls DLC, an add-on to both of these content mods developed by the Fargo's developers that makes them compatible, rebalances everything, and even changes a lot of boss fights. This mod is quite underexplored on YouTube right now. Skeletron did a run, but that was a while ago and the mod's received a lot of updates since then. There is that 5-hour long video by Toadstar, but it's 5 hours long and entirely live commentated, even though I would recommend watching it. Since the mod is so underexplored, I like to proudly present a step-by-step guide on how to make your way through this mod, complete with over 50 bosses. Since this is a guide, I've removed most of the quality of life mods I usually use. No Nightmare Fuel, no Alkalite, though I've phased that out lately. I even removed Prisma's PP. And, just for kicks, my assistant will be doing this with Boomerangs only. Speaking of which, I think it's time to introduce her. This is Lynn. Say hi, Lynn. You're here to kill a few gods. So, opening your Calamity starter bag and enabling Eternity Death Mode is the first step. This gets you a head start on storage and NPC housing. When compared to some other subclasses, Boomerangs are somewhat lucky. The wooden boomerang is available from the very start of the game. It's not much of a weapon, but you will be able to defend yourself while you start your playthrough. Now, as you begin surface caving, there is one matter that's arguably more important than gathering a supply of ores. That is getting as many worms as you can as quickly as possible. I'll go over why that's important in a bit, but surface caving the normal way can't hurt. Get some ores, life crystals, accessories. Okay, thanks for reminding me that lead armor gives knockback immunity and is thus the best set of armor you can get before beating the perforators. Oh hey, you got a can of worms. Perfect timing, that makes 30. Now I can explain... Lynn, why are you surface caving again? Lynn, this is supposed to be a guide on how to beat this mod, and you've got unlimited bait. Lynn, work with me here! Alright, thanks. Now with 30 worms in your inventory, the stack is treated as unlimited and no worms will be consumed. This means you effectively have unlimited bait. Use that unlimited bait to rope into the sky, apparently. I mean, finding the planetoid lab is something you're going to want to do eventually, and the herb bags and planter boxes will give you a head start in farming. Alright, now you can finally find a spot to Okay, Lynn, I'll give you this. With the desert to the left and the crimson to the right, there's not really any good spots right now. Your best bet is probably underground, but there's a bigger priority on the surface right now. There we go, 6 fallen stars. With this out of the way, you can craft the enchanted boomerang and... Yeah, nicely put. And good job, Lynn. Everything you've done since getting the can of worms has actually been in service of the next major step of early game all along. You're trying to get 30 Spelunker potions, and frankly that's the best thing you could be doing right now. In service of this goal, head to the underground desert. The fossils you can get there are the easiest way to get the ores you need to craft them without using one of the items you're trying to gain. You might also get this from a rolling cactus. Hold on to it, it'll be useful in a bit. One desert diving session later and... Oh, I understand now. You haven't been fishing because there's been nothing to fish up. Now though, if you haven't encountered an extractinator naturally, you're going to want to fish to get one. And, as previously mentioned, you can fish indefinitely once you have 30 of any bait, including worms. To get that extractinator, simply keep fishing until you have 5 wooden crates, then use a recipe added by Fargo's mutant mod to turn them into an extractinator. Converting the silt and fossils you've picked up should net you with a lot of money, enough gems for at least an amber hook, and quite a decent supply of ores. At this point, the only thing standing between you and a 30 stack of Spelunker potions is waiting for Blinkroot to grow. While that's happening, you might as well occupy yourself with various tasks. First on the agenda is making your way to the Crimson and crafting the first of the many enchantments found in Fargo's Souls mod. Every single armor set in Terraria and a few Calamity armor sets have an enchantment associated with them, and you'll need to collect nearly all of them to stand a chance against the final boss of the mod. The first of these is the Wood enchantment, which doesn't affect combat but speeds up grinding by a lot. Next up is some classic Terraria early game exploration, including the universal Calamity experience of being disappointed by the Trinket of Chi Shrine. Make your way to both sides of the world, finding first the Sulphurous Sea, then the regular ocean, where you wake up the Angler, then begin to set up your pylon network. In the version of the game where this is being recorded, you could trash your stack, but that is thankfully getting removed from the game, and early access to the Reaver Shark doesn't matter anyway. The Reaver Shark, whose 1.4 nerfs are unnerfed in Calamity, is re-nerfed in Fargo Souls DLC, meaning early Hellstone isn't accessible unless you've installed Thorium or find the Rock's Caliber. Instead, you decide to get the golden fishing rod needed to beat the final boss the normal way, fishing quests. Honestly, good choice, Lynn. And finally, after painstakingly mining, farming, waiting, and dying to a random zombie while setting up the desert pylon, you finally have enough Blink Root for the 30th Spelunker Potion. Thanks to Fargo's Mutant mod, as with the 30 worms you got earlier, having 30 Spelunker Potions gives you the buff indefinitely. Lynn, I think you put it perfectly. It's time for the real game to begin. Exploring underground biomes will be much easier for you now that you'll always know where you want to go, and even easier once you build an Instavator for fast access to the cavern layer. This should get you pretty close to max health. While you're building your pylon network and waiting out a slime rain, the benefits of completing fishing quests become apparent to you. Fishing is an excellent way to get a lot of items you couldn't normally get, and Calamity Mod even lets you get the hotline fishing hook early to fish in lava, although that's a while away. It's menial work, but it's actually required to stand a decent chance against the final boss, so find time in between your other tasks to get fishing quests done. The Angler's quests instantly refresh upon completion in this mod, so that helps. Just keep banging them out, one after the other, only taking a quick pit stop to thrash the Goblin army. That's it for the day, huh? Well, see you tomorrow, Lynn.
Tomorrow.
Okay, I'm back. It took me a bit to get the game working again, but we're getting closer to fighting the Trojan Squirrel. Don't tell me you... Come on, Lynn, it's an easy fight, but I could use the footage. Lynn? You're supposed to be my assistant on this. Lynn? Lynn? God damn it, she hit me with a virus. Okay, let me work through this real quick.
6.5 hours later.
Am I seriously gonna have to ask Sin? Oh, the virus is gone. So let's log back in and... okay. Looks like you've gotten a lot done. Is that a hotline fishing hook? Think fast, Chuckle Nuts? What does that mean? Oh, you're already fighting King Slime. Ahem. To prepare for fighting King Slime, take a dive into the underground jungle to get yourself a Thorn Chakram. For the fight, equip the best accessories you can, such as the Boreal Wood enchantment to add snowballs to your arsenal, and as much mobility as you can. You might die slightly more times than the average Ludwig viewer's amount of friends, and by that I mean you might die once, but don't be discouraged. You'll actually use your buff potions on the next attempt and succeed in taking King Slime down, spawning the mutant and granting access to the Solidifier. With this Solidifier, kill piranhas for their banner, then craft it into a compass and use it and your guide's name to find the shimmer for some permanent upgrades. From there, reforge your accessories, which I'm surprised you didn't do while I wasn't looking, Lynn, and properly destroy the Eye of Cthulhu. That should give you the Crimtane or Demonite you need to... Oh, come on, Lynn. Seriously? How are you even stopping me from recording you? I'm rerouting OBS through the Reborn nightclub. It's a direct pipeline to you. How are you... Of course it's her. Someone from Reborn City has to be keeping me out, and there's only one clown I know from there who knows enough about programming to match me. Give me a minute. I've got to talk to Tara real quick. And there we go, connection restored for now, and looks like you're about to fight the Desert Scourge. Perfect timing, this is just like my first Calamity video. Way ahead of you this time, Lynn. Seems like you're getting ready to craft the golden Is that a 30 stack of Grand Marquis bait? Okay, so the fight's starting. Ahem. When fighting the Desert Scourge, the Copper Enchantment's lightning will operate at full capacity, especially when enhanced by the Rain enchantment. The Fossil enchantment provides a revive and is thus a valuable equip for any situation you can think of. Keep mobile, don't overextend yourself, and keep up the pressure and you should be able to take this worm down. Killing the Scourge provides the materials necessary to craft the Trimarang, but be sure to ignore that in favor of almost dying to the completely unnecessary and optional Cursed Coffin. The reward is getting to experience one of the best fights in the mod, with the side benefit of potentially granting you the last material needed to craft the Gold Enchantment, whose benefits for you will mostly consist of putting coins into your piggy bank automatically. It's still a great option to equip for almost any boss, but it's got tough competition. It will return though. The materials to craft the Trimarang are now available, and its higher fire rate compared to the Thorn Chakra makes it a definite upgrade, letting you take out a Sand Elemental apparently. Now, thanks to the Angler enchantment you've been gathering the components for, fishing is significantly enhanced, letting you gather the ingredients for 30 stacks of many different potions, letting you have those potion effects indefinitely. Incidentally, this also allows for a pretty simple way to get unlimited money. Once you have 30 Inferno potions through lava fishing, you can buy them from Fargo Squirrel NPC, then shimmer those potions and sell the ingredients back to the squirrel for more money than you paid. Rinse and repeat until you have all the money you want. Spend the next couple hours or so crafting enchantments in an endeavor to craft every single one of them that'll actually be successful. While you're at it, finally go ahead and set up the code breaker that'll be useful to fight a certain quintet of machines much later on in the playthrough. Also, when you're gathering flinks for in the Underground Tundra, get a Viking helmet. You will not regret it. With these enchantments out of the way, challenge some bosses, starting with Crapulon. The Eternity changes might catch you off guard, but as long as you didn't place any platforms, you should adapt quickly. This boss might be optional, but it's still well worth taking on for the rage upgrade alone, let alone the music. Next up is the Brain of Cthulhu, where the Copper and Rain enchantment will serve you... Yeah, I've got nothing to add, I'm just gonna watch the fight now. The Brain's first phase isn't anything special. If you have good mobility and either a weapon with good crowd control or the Copper enchantment, you should be able to clear the creepers easily. As for the second phase, it would also be simple if the Brain didn't periodically inflict confusion. Still, power through, dodge what you can, and take the Brain down. After trying and failing with the Reaver Shark earlier, you finally have access to Hellstone via the Deathbringer pickaxe, and with it, the Flamerang. You also have access to a craftable Crimson Altar, letting you craft enchantments at home, which helps you to craft these ones. The Molten and Obsidian enchantments will even be equipped for the next boss. As for that next boss fight, just break a Perforator Cyst and prepare yourself for what comes next. You put it well, Lynn. It's time to rogue it up. After mining some aerolite and finally taking a trip to the Sunken Sea, craft the weapon that's going to carry you through the rest of pre-hard mode, the Tracking Disc. Decent firepower, excellent homing, and the choice of single target or multi-target specialty depending on whether you use spam or stealth makes a Tracking Disc a very versatile weapon and the perfect choice as your first rogue boomerang of the playthrough. It will not be the last. To quickly go over stealth strikes, wearing any set of rogue armor adds a stealth bar which fills up when you're not attacking and fills up faster when you're standing still. Stealth gets consumed when you attack to increase rogue damage, and when sufficiently full, you can perform a stealth strike, which is effectively an alternate fire for every rogue weapon in the game. In short, using stealth strikes increases your firepower per shot at the cost of a much lower fire rate. To be able to actually use stealth strikes, craft a full set of aerospec armor, craft another set of aerospec armor to use in its enchantment that you'll never use, and demolish the Queen Bee. The Ancient Kobold enchantment's explosive jump is something you'll get a lot of value of on this fight, helping you deal damage and evade her attacks in one accessory slot. Same with the Meteor enchantment. One Old One's army takedown later, and it's time for Skeletron. With a weapon as phenomenal as the Tracking Disc in your arsenal, you should have no trouble taking down Skeletron, even if you get surprised by the Dungeon Guardian phase. Take Skeletron's treasure bag and... I think I'll leave this talk to you, Lynn.
"12 seconds later.
So, plant Solin's flagpole down, enter the dungeon, and... I said, enter the dungeon, get some loot, and find a spot to fish. Then, plant Solin's flagpole, go back to the dungeon, and... Go back to the dungeon, and... Alright, what the hell is going on here? You know what, I'll come back tomorrow. Hopefully someone's figured something out by then.
Thousands of tears later.
Wait, so Solin set up her campsite? She hasn't done it before. Is that what caused the crashes? It was that simple, huh? Well, thanks for the help, Lynn. Now, after depositing whatever books you've collected and testing out some hair dye, take some time to gaze through Solin's telescope, making a beeline to behold the celestial rift of doom. One conversation later, and it's time for the moment of truth. Can we re-enable Eternity Mode? Oh, hell yeah! With only 2 enchantments left to collect in pre-hard mode to keep up with the arbitrary second challenge you've set yourself, farm in the dungeon for a while and craft the Necro enchantment, a really good damage boosting enchantment that will greatly help with the next 2 upcoming bosses. After reforging the enchantment, challenge the Slime God and prepare yourself for something special. This is a complicated fight. The Slime God alternates between empowering one of its paladins and fighting you head-on in a legitimate core phase. After dying slightly more times than the amount of visible differences between Cujo videos, and by that I mean dying once, you should have a good enough grasp on the patterns of the fight to get to its final phase, where the Slime God empowers both paladins at once in an all-out assault. You just need to split both paladins, and the fight is over. After that masterpiece of a fight, upgrade your armor set to Statagel and farm Nymphs for the Nymphs perfume accessory, as it'll be vital for the next fight. And judging by what you're saying, that next fight is happening right now, the Deviant. Deviant has a wide variety of attacks to beat your ass with. When fighting her, make sure to never overextend, always know what attack she's using, and turn away from her when Medusa's winding up. Also, use a homing weapon if you can, like the tracking disc you're almost certainly going to use if you do this run with Boomerangs only. It might take you a couple tries, but you'll be able to take Deviant down. Craft Nekomi armor before realizing it doesn't allow stealth strikes and promptly retiring it in favor of Statagel. Then, craft the Supreme Deathbringer Fairy, the first of many combination accessories you'll craft throughout this run. Refight the 2 bosses you just beat to test out gear and gather more resources, and eventually go to hell to fight the Wall of Flesh. If there's any lesson you've taken from the second half of pre-hard mode, it's that the tracking disc is a stupidly good weapon. It's homing, it deals solid damage, it's ridiculously easy to use, and it can focus on either single target damage through spam, or clear crowds with its stealth strikes. It's great against the Eternity Wall of Flesh, and it's even better against the Calamity Wall, let alone Inferno. It might just be the best boomerang you will use throughout the course of this run, though its expiration date has unfortunately arrived, as after beating the crap out of the Wall of Flesh, you've entered hard mode. First things first, you'll want to gain some information. Travel to the Underground Hallow and farm enough Souls of Light to craft the Ancient Master's map of the Lost King's great ancestors, revealing the map instantly. Note that this is pretty good RNG for the hard mode V. The only real problem is the lack of a decent surface hallow. So, set one up and start the early hard mode grind. Notably, now that the Calamity mod is in the process of being fixed, the wizard now sells candles. Buy the defensive one and never think about this mechanic again for the rest of the run. Now there are a few weapon upgrades available, and after using the tracking disc to farm the Essence of Havoc required for the first of these, finally retire it in favor of the Blazing Star. Immediately after, craft the best enchantment in the game, the Wizard Enchantment, which enhances the enchantment below it in your accessory loadout. This enchantment is only being mentioned because it is the best enchantment in the game. Next on your agenda will be upgrading your armor from the decent but outdated Statagel to Titan Hard Armor, giving excellent stats and knockback immunity. Farm some Paladin Crimson Deserts to get yourself the Equanimity, the other rogue boomerang available at this point of progression, only to find that it's a bit worse than the Blazing Star. It doesn't matter though, since neither can compare to the next boomerang you come across, the Bananarang, which forces you to switch armor sets again, this time to Palladium. And finally, with the Fairy Mobility combo up and running, with all the enchantments crafted, with your accessory loadout ready and waiting, it's finally time to challenge Queen Slime. The enchantments you've picked will serve you well here. The Meteor and Cobalt enchantments provide mobility and damage in one package, with the Cobalt enchantment's Wizard Buff Explosion in particular greatly helping with the Gelatin subjects. The Ancient Shadow enchantment, while less flashy, is a good source of reliable damage. Finally, the Fairy Mobility combo works as well as it ever has, letting you easily take out Queen Slime. There's a little time to rest before the next boss. There's no upgrades to make. You'll go in with the same gear you used for Queen Slime. Prepare yourself for a boss that will change the course of the run in more ways than one. Because you aren't fighting Cryogen. You're fighting Permafrost. With only one spare attempt needed to warm up, your sparring session with Permafrost is over and will reward you with a dormant key. Find where it leads to, plant the Frostblessed seedling, and say goodbye to melee for almost the entire rest of the run. It's time to return to Rogue because you just got access to the Kelvin Catalyst. So go ahead and test it out, Lynn. Why don't you? I guess that's a tie, except it's win because you're immortal. Anyway, back to the boss rush. This is where the playthrough takes a turn. You thought going in that this wouldn't be that hard. Considering what you've been through before, it shouldn't be. But no, this isn't a guide anymore. From this point up to and including Moonlord, this will turn into one simple question. Can you overcome? After failing against the Calamitous clone multiple times, change tack and fight the Destroyer to pick up the one boomerang left to grab at the current point of progression, light discs. They're not Rogue, but Melee has access to Chlorophyte armor, while Rogue's stuck with either Titanheart or Daedalus. Throw yourself back into dying to the Calamitous clone, at least for a moment. Since you're switching to Melee, unearth the twin ranks you picked up from the twins and use them against the brothers. Once you're done blatantly misplaying against their very telegraphed attack patterns, prepare yourself for your first real attempt against the Calamitous clone herself. As Silence Before the Storms begins to play, take a deep breath and relax. The hardest fight of the run so far is down, and there's finally another rogue exclusive armor set to pick up. To do this, craft a temple key with the Calamity recipe, loot some chests, and farm the Solar Eclipse for Solar Veil. This will reward you with the Umberphile armor set. With Umberphile equipped, it's time to get 2 Fargo's items out of the way. First up is the Omni Station, which— oh hell yeah, Bat Hook! Anyway, yeah, Omni Station. You need to beat the Pirate Invasion anyway for the second item I'll be getting, so might as well get the Golden Dipping Vat too. Boom, bam, bop, Omni Station. Next is the Bionomic Cluster, which doesn't actually get equipped, but given this tooltip, it'll help me enough from the inventory alone. You'll have to be the Frost Legion to get it, and that's all I'll say. And now, you've said it best. This next boss is the only thing between you and quite a few upgrades. And so, head into the jungle and challenge Plantera. The first phase shouldn't be that tough. Just slowly and methodically dodge her attacks while firing stealth strikes when possible. Phase 2, though, ramps things up a couple notches. Plantera combines her methodical eternity patterns with her explosive Calamity Dash for a perfectly timed duo of destruction. Hopefully you don't accidentally hook into her mouth, and if you do, hopefully get out of there in time to avoid certain death, though this will leave you at pretty low health heading into the third and final phase. For that phase, a single City Buster won't make the most comfortable arena. Instead, blow up at least 2 City Busters and use a fountain if necessary to keep Plantera from getting angry, as Fargo's adds that function to biome fountains. Even so, Phase 3 is arguably easier than Phase 2 for the simple reason that it's only eternity patterns. Stay calm, don't lose your cool, don't overextend as I've said before, and keep hitting Plantera until she eventually goes down, unlocking access to no less than 4 new Boomerangs, one of which Lyn isn't going to craft. One of those 4, however, is immediately craftable, the Samsara Slicer crafted from Plantera's drops. After testing it out with a rematch, you'll be reassured that the Kelvin Catalyst can now be safely retired. Before picking up any more weapon upgrades though, having a post-Plantera weapon means you can finally take care of some accessories you should have gotten a couple boss ago, the Class Essences. These give stat boosts to each of the 5 classes, in order of when Lyn crafts them: the Outlaw's Essence for Rogue, Barbarian's Essence for Melee, Sharpshooter's Essence for Ranger, Apprentice's Essence for Mage, and Occultist's Essence for Summoner. 4 of them will be useless, and in fact you won't be equipping any of them, but getting this grind out of the way now will be a big help to lessen the load you have to undertake much later in the run. Now, set up a surface mushroom biome, something you should have done in early hard mode. While you wait for the truffle to move in, go underground and mine some perennial ore. Using the perennial bars you get, craft the second of the 4 Boomerangs locked behind Plantera, the Mangrove Chakram. With these upgrades under your belt, finally tackle the post-Plantera dungeon. Get enough ectoplasm to dupe an unlimited amount through the power of alcoholism, then bada bing bada boom, Shermite enchantment, Spectre enchantment, Tiki enchantment— oh hey, here's the defective sphere, that's the 3rd one. Where was I? Beyond the enchantments just mentioned, one of which should probably be a mainstay on your loadout, there's a few more to get. First up is the Reaver enchantment, which you should probably use more than Lyn ends up doing. Next, and last is— Lyn, what is it? I guess I don't need footage of them, especially since any heat is useless for now. I'm listening. I guess Terra has left me alone for a while, and I'd rather keep it that way. Deal. The Pumpkin Moon will be frustrating, as the drops you actually want will be unavailable until Wave 15. Still, push through and come up with the materials needed for the spooky enchantment. From there, it's time to honor my end of the deal.
6 hours later.
Okay, we're back. Seems like after fighting Aureus and Leviathan, you've settled on the Samsara Slicer as your primary— did you just call him Sans? When fighting this version of Golem, remember that damage is everything. Golem heals himself, and quite quickly. With that in mind, alternate between the Samsara Slicer and Defective Sphere before eventually settling on the latter. For accessories, after Boots and Wings, it seems you've gone to the Meteor and Cobalt enchantments for mobility once again, the Wizard Buff Tin enchantment to massively improve your crit rate, and the Spectre enchantment ready to hot swap when you need the revive. Regardless, just keep mobile, dodge Golem's attacks in a far larger arena than what the Fargo's developers intended for him, and batter Golem over and over until he eventually falls and a plague befalls the jungle. Before dealing with that though, take a trip to the Abyss to get some Scoria ore. This grants you a new Boomerang in the Subduction Slicer, an armor upgrade in the Hydrothermic set, and the corresponding enchantment, which will be worth equipping as it allows you to vent. I will not elaborate on this. Back to the Plague, head to the jungle, farm the new Plague enemies there for Plague Cell canisters, and use them to craft the Epidemic Shredder, the last Boomerang you can craft until Moonlord has been defeated. Anyway, use the Lizard Treasure Box you got from Golem to utterly thrash the Tier 3 Old Ones army. The boulders will take out every enemy that's not named Betsy. As for Betsy, die to her at least once. This will drop her guard and let you be able to take what's left of her health bar out, finally putting the Old One's army behind you. Well, you've got all the weapons you'll get before Moonlord, with one exception. You've got your accessories in order. Looks like it's time for a boss rush. Unfortunately, that was the easy part. Lunatic Cultist is a whole other level of challenge. Even with the weapons you've got, you'll have a hard time dealing consistent damage, especially without triggering the Phantasmal Dragon. After dying a couple times, have an epiphany. You've been playing Rogue like a Fargos player this entire time, when what you should be doing is playing it like a Calamity player. Instead of enchantments, equip all the stealth accessories you can: Abyssal Mirror, Glove of Precision, and especially the Ruin Medallion. These accessories will finally enable the Epidemic Shredder to reach its full potential, as its stealth strikes spew out homing plague shots that deal consistent damage to the cultist. You probably still won't win on the first try. With this new loadout, you'll die only slightly more times than the average number of brain cells of people who own a Switch 2. And by that, I mean you'll die only one more time before taking the cultist down. With the Mutants Pact used and the pillars available, your newly stealth-focused rogue build is about to get a serious upgrade in the form of the Dark Matter Sheath. Words cannot express how incredible this accessory is for boosting the fire rate of your stealth strikes. Regardless, take out the pillars one by one while being very confused as to why rogue is unaffected by the pillar damage reduction effects. With that knowledge, prepare yourself to give something you didn't think was possible a try. Get ready for Eternity Moonlord with Boomerangs only. The most frustrating thing about this fight, if you're experienced at it, is that the fails always come at the very end of the fight. Every attempt, despite improvements to your weapon loadout or your game plan, will always end the same. One attempt might end with a Moonlord at under 6,000 health. Still, take this as a sign that you're almost there. The next attempt, choose to equip the Verdant Doomsayer mask as your improvement of choice and jump back into the fight. The game plan remains the same. Use the Epidemic Shredder to take out the eyes after a longer period than what you've come to expect. Then, for the core, the Subduction Slicer takes center stage, with its stealth strikes outdamaging every other option at close range. The Epidemic Shredder still has the advantage at long range, so alternate between those two weapons while dodging for your life. Moonlord's attacks will come faster and faster as he reaches lower health. The pace will become far more frantic and you'll likely be unable to keep up. But push forward anyway, and finally, with the Emperor's Wings and Aeolus Boots for mobility, the Verdant Doomsayer mask for general support, the Dark Matter Sheath and Abyssal Mirror for stealth support, and the Wizard Buffed Spectre enchantment for survivability, still wearing the Umberphile armor set you got before Plantera. The Eternity Moonlord falls, and you're officially 2/3 of the way through the game. Take a deep breath and relax as Storms Before the Catastrophes plays. You're past the hardest part of the run, but there are tasks to do before jumping into the post-Moonlord split. First up is mining the Luminite that just spawned in space. Then, use this to craft the Elemental Disc, a weapon that could potentially justify a return to a spam build, though stealth is working well for you right now. By this time, the credits have finished rolling, and Anyway, one Astromedeus refight later, and you have enough meld constructs to finally upgrade your armor from Umberphile to Empyrean, complete with the matching Exodus wings. There's a few items to craft before taking the plunge, namely the Crucible of the Cosmos, the ultimate Fargo Soulmaw crafting station, and the Starter's Enchantment in Heart of the Master, both of which immediately replace the boots you should have taken off long ago. Now, while the Heart of the Master simply improves your stats across the board, with the secondary effects, as you're currently showing against Dragon Folly, the Starter's Enchantment instead allows you to do this. Neither Dragon Folly nor the Profane Guardians should really put up any fight at all, but Providence will be a different story, for one simple reason: damage reduction. The fight always seems to take twice as long as it should, just because Providence keeps retreating into her shell and sending that bullet hell at you over and over again. Still, this is a fight you should have some experience with, and as such, this is just business as usual. Take the Profane Goddess down, granting access to the Divine Geodes you need for a lot of upgrades, as well as hopefully the Molten Amputator. Those upgrades are the Forces from Fargo's Souls mod, combining and enhancing the effects of various enchantments. Since you're uncertain of which forces you want to equip, go with the Force of Life as a wing replacement, Force of Spirit for survival, and Force of Will for damage while leaving your other accessories on for now. Next, go mining for Eula Blue Moor. This is used for a ton of stuff, including the Elderberry, the third of... Lynn, what are you doing? Come on, I thought we were working well together. You know what, I got through Terra's firewall once, and I'll do it again... What the hell is this firewall?
One debt to society later.
Okay, I'm through. Now it's time for the Sentinels. Wait, Lynn, what are you doing? Lynn, what the hell are you doing? Calming down from that jump scare. Alright, I'll give that one to you, but now it's time for the guide to resume. The ghoulish gouger you got from Poltergast is one of a few options you have for Boomerangs, and to get the second, another trip to the Abyss is in order. Kill as many Reaper Sharks as you have to grab the Valediction, or perhaps 5 of them. The only Boomerang left before the Devourer of Gods is locked behind a boss, so might as well take him out. It's time for one of the 2 Calamity bosses left that received Eternity AI, the Old Duke. The new patterns will catch you off guard. Your battles will probably be unplugged, causing you to switch out the Force of Will for the Force of Nature, hoping this will improve your performance. After at least one more death, Make it to Phase 2 and settle on the valediction for the faster fire rate and prepare for one hell of a fight. There's only one drop you want from the old Duke, so just use a Fargo's recipe to craft his treasure bag into the Toxicant Twister. And now, challenge the single most iconic boss in the Calamity mod, the Devourer of...
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
I don't know what to say. If you've seen one Devourer fight, you've seen them all. Shoutouts to Lynn for the commentary, though. Unless the Eradicator drops, he'll be stuck with the Ghoulish Gouger and company for the post-Devourer events, but that shouldn't be a problem. Take on the Solar Eclipse, Pumpkin Moon, and Frost Moon to get the materials needed for Ascended Spirit Essence, and start the upgrades. The Eclipse Mirror, a must-have accessory for any rogue at this point. The Asgardian Aegis, Godslayer Armor, and the self-confidence you need to admit that you forgot the Ceaseless Void is a required boss for this run. But that said, you've got gear 2 tiers up now. The fight is no challenge at all. Just repeatedly whittle down his health bar until... Come on, Lynn. You know what? I'm getting outside help for this. Screw it. I'm getting through Terra's firewall myself. Okay, finally through. Now let's get back to recording. And now, it's time to face a boss that will push you to your limit and force you to go beyond it. A boss that might just be the hardest in the game. Oh, not Yaron, he's easy. I'm talking about Eridanus. The main obstacle for this fight will be reacting to his hardest attacks, namely Vortex and the Nebula Death Rays. The other obstacle is not doing anything stupid, such as on this particular first try, which ended after an ill-advised maneuver to graze bomb his face to Vortex. You might die to not knowing which Nebula attack he's about to use, or to not positioning yourself for the Nebula Dash. Just make sure your accessory loadout is prepped once you begin to slip into Insanity. The Flight Mastery Soul is craftable at this point of progression, and it's the easiest set of wings to use for this fight by a wide margin. Heart of the Master and Eclipse Mirror are obvious inclusions, but the rest of your loadout could have used some tweaking, and that's what it got. The Verdant Doomsayer Mask is honestly outdated at this point, and the Nanotech is a replacement that's ready and waiting to use. As for forces, Spirit for survivability and Will and Nature for damage will serve you well. With this loadout upgrade, jump right back into the fight. This fight has a consistent pattern, so you'll always know what attack's coming next. Just always move upward when he's punching, be very careful around the Vortex, and be sure to hit your Eradicator stealth strikes. It's not the flashiest weapon, but it's the best you've got, and it's honestly a pretty good one for this fight. And please, don't be stupid enough to equip the Stardust enchantment for this fight. Just whittle him down the old-fashioned way until he finally starts the third phase of the fight, otherwise known as the easy phase. Iridinis has two notable drops. The Cosmic Core, which lets your critical hits have their own critical hits, and Iridanium, used to craft the final, and strongest, Force. The Force of Cosmos, providing the starter's enchantments time stop along with some excellent stat buffs tied to upgraded nebula boosters. With an easy Yaron fight out of the way, there are only, let me check, 7 bosses left in the game. It's time to end this. First, get some Auric Ore for the Calamitilian upgrades unlocked by killing Yaron, namely the Auric Tesla armor set. As for your Fargo's upgrades, the Force of Cosmos is an amazing accessory for this upcoming fight. Force of Life takes up the wing slot for now. Force of Will is a uniquely useful accessory for this fight, and everything else stays equipped. Finally, the best and only on-tier boomerang available right now is the Dynamic Pursuer, a weapon crafted using the previously used Eradicator and the tracking disc from all the way back in pre-hard mode. It's time for the first boss of the final 7, the Abomination. Phase 1 is the easier part of the fight. Warm up your reflexes, deal consistent damage with your stealth strikes, and save adrenaline for Phase 2 only to promptly lose it to inventory mismanagement in the middle of a boss fight. However, words cannot express our shock at what happens next. I'll admit this right now, we had our minds blown by this DPS. Let me just replay the footage real quick, and this was with only rage. Regardless, having access to Abominable Energy means that the Fargo Souls, roll credits, have finally been unlocked. They're normally available right after beating Moonlord, but Fargo Souls DLC retiers them to post-Abomination for balance reasons. The first of these is the Vagabond Soul, the ultimate rogue accessory, providing the effects of the Eclipse Mirror and Nanotech along with a whole lot of bonus stats. In terms of the slot that just opened up, fill it with the Colossus Soul, which on top of its usual tanking effects from Fargo's Souls mod, provides the Amalgam's dodge and bonus damage, the Rampart of Deity stats and bonus iframes, and, most notably, the Asgardian Aegis' Ram Dash. This should give you the power boost you need to slaughter Calamitous. Before that, craft the World Shaper Soul now, just to get it out of the way. It has no combat use, but it's required for one of the major souls you'll need, so might as well make the post-Calamitous grind easier. Finally, the Abominable Wand is a better revive than the Force of Spirit, so change it out in your loadout and walk up to the Brimstone Witch, ready to give her a fight she wasn't prepared for. Perhaps you weren't prepared for that fight either, but that was still a very fun encounter. Now, under normal circumstances, fighting the Exomechs first is the better choice. These are not normal circumstances. If you're fortunate enough to have installed Fargo Soul's DLC, or Wrath of the Machines, Drayden will be looking to push his machines to their absolute limits. And so, after firing up the Codebreaker, give him what he wants. Respond in kind. Well, it's finally time. With the Exomechs and Calamitas both defeated, you have access to 5 new accessories, and after a grinding session that Lynn and I agreed not to show you, every one of them will be equipped for the next boss. The Soul of the Master, the amalgamation of every combination accessory you've crafted over the course of the run. The Soul of Terraria, every enchantment in the game combined. The Soul of the Universe, the ultimate offensive stat accessory. The Soul of Dimensions, the only pair of wings you'll ever need. And the Brand of the Brimstone Witch, combining most of Calamity's best accessories into one package. These, along with the Abominable Wand for survival and the Cosmic Core for power, will be your loadout for the next boss, which as it turns out is Drayden again. But this time, you aren't fighting him alone. Good luck. All 4 seedlings have been collected. I'd say it's about time to... Oh, so that's how we're doing this. Mutant jump scare? What's... Oh. Well, in that case, wreak havoc, Lynn. A retrospective on that fight. How easy it is will depend on how much you know the mutant. This was a first try victory. The Fargo's devs have also kindly bestowed Mutant with some new attacks based on Calamity bosses, such as the Calamitous attack, the Yaron attack, and even the Poltergeist attack, which wasn't shown. Some attacks have also been updated to fit Calamity bosses, such as the Devourer of Gods attack, the Providence attack, the Plaguebringer Goliath attack, the Exomex attack, the Old Duke attack, and even the Slime God attack. These attacks help the fight stand out more, and I greatly look forward to the rest of the mod being updated to match the level of quality I've seen in its first half, and in the 2 fights Lucille Karma recently updated. As for the choice of weapon, it's between the Gemini Glaives, obtained by killing a set of twins with stats beefed up to the extreme, and the Celestis, the penultimate rogue boomerang in the game, and what will end up being the last one you use. The reason why: taking the mutant down grants access to eternal energy, and with it, in a change made by Fargo Soul's DLC, Shadow Spec bars, which can actually be duplicated thanks to the World Shaper Soul mentioned previously. This unlocks 2 major upgrades: Demon Shade Armor, the last armor set you'll use, and 2 new weapons. Of these, it's finally time to return to melee, for the simple reason that the weapon that comes with it has the funnier name. And so, craft up a massive crafting chain. Craft the Ponage Hammer, Fallen Paladin's Hammer, Stellar Contempt, Galaxy Smasher, and finally, the last weapon you'll use in this run, Triactus' True Paladinian Mage Hammer of Might. The Soul of Eternity is still out of reach. In order to get there, you'll have to deal with this Cosmic Rift of Doom that's been slowly covering the screen since Moonlord's defeat. Activate the Genesis, and prepare for what the entire playthrough's been building to. I proudly present the Avatar of Emptiness. You know what? This isn't the right song for the job. Good luck, Lynn. Seek the terminus and enter your final test. One fight remains. Give them your best, Lynn. Lynn? What's going on? Is she seriously contacting me through Pokemon Showdown? Well, might as well. Okay, so it looks like this is mine to win. No one can do this but me. That's one revive. Okay, effectively I just have to get through the galaxies. How fitting. That's another revive? Close. Looks like the sun is not going to be denied by my Graze Bomb. There's Nebby. Hopefully I can get myself to Nebby, especially since this is the... Oh. I'm in final phase. Yep. I mean, there is a very small chance that I can... Okay. I have Nameless Deity at 0 health. Do I still have to beat the galaxies? I do. I have 2 revives to work with. Abominable revive. I've been in this situation before. The first times I fought both Infernum Calamitous and Eternity Mutant, I couldn't make it past their desperation phases immediately. Both times, I felt incredibly frustrated at coming so close after so many tries, and still having to get through the fights I've been having hard times with. This situation was barely different. I'd now died to the Nameless Deity's final attack twice in a row, both times due to mismanaging my loadout. I should feel frustrated, but I didn't. And the reason why speaks to something I wrote about in my community tab a while ago. Infernum and Eternity are game modes that are both hailed for the difficulty and are frequently seen as almost impossible by players newer to modded Terraria. However, upon trying both, I didn't really have that hard a time. Some bosses were walls, most notably the 147 attempts I spent learning Infernum Devourer, but I never felt like any fight was close to out of reach. And I think the reason why is because I went into those runs without expecting them to be impossible. I went into them simply expecting to win, and more than half of the Infernum bosses were beaten first try as a result. And the same applies here. I'm not fighting Nameless Deity expecting to lose. I'm here to win, and no amount of my namesake is going to stop me. After everything I've been through, what is a god to a non-believer? The blizzard the Avatar put me through is going to be more challenging than this. Wait, say that again. Okay, final phase. Gotta get through the galaxies. Never thought I'd do it. Thanks for getting me there, Lynn. And thanks for watching. My game crashed. Lynn, there's one more thing for you to do. By combining the Soul of the Master, Soul of Terraria, Soul of the Universe, Soul of Dimensions, Brand of the Brimstone Witch, some Eternal Energy, and the rock you just got from the Nameless Deity's treasure bag, you can finally craft the Soul of Eternity. It'd be a lot more impressive if you hadn't turned off minion effects using averted Doomsayer mask setting. There is one more loose end to tie up, though. As per the wishes of the Wrath of the Gods developers, I won't be showing what happens if you fully fill up Solin's bookshelf. However, upon returning to the Twisted Garden, regardless of any progress you've made, Solin will be there. Lynn, I know you don't like me looking over your shoulder, so I'll do you a favor. I'll walk away from the camera for a moment. Enjoy your final conversation with another Destroyer of Worlds. And to all of you watching, I hope this guide was helpful. Bye, guys.
Yeah.